Well, we got 17 and a half hours in Berlin. We're just on the train waiting to get into the city center. We're going to check in our hotel and we're going to hit the town and then bring you guys with me. Let's try an Anthony Bourdain style layover. Well, the hotel room looks pretty decent. It's like $89 a night Canadian, which is a pretty damn good price, but we only have 16 and a half hours until we have to leave, so we're gonna try to go out, get some good food tonight, get some good drinks. We're gonna try to see what the nightlife's like, and then in the morning we're gonna try to see all the necessary tourist sites, try to do a couple little things that we can before we gotta go and move on to Leipzig. Gotta eat before a night of drinking, so we got ourselves a donair, and man, I'm excited for this thing. Let's give her a shot. Well, that was freaking amazing. I mean, wow, I'm nice and full, ready to go out, get some drinks, and really check out this town. Morning. As you can probably tell, it was a bit of a rough night last night. We only have about 4 hours left or so until we gotta go. Just gonna go and try to catch the subway now and go see maybe the Brandenburg Gate, the Berlin Wall, you know, your typical things that you just have to see in Berlin. We decided to stop off in Berlin because we had to come here anyway to get to Leipzig. So we thought we might as well stay the night. I mean, you're right here, there's so many things that are famous here that you just have to see. Well, we just got off the subway, and I will say that there is some characters in this city. Seen it last night, seen it today. There's just some interesting people, but walking up to see the Berlin Wall now, and me and Jessica were just talking here. I never really had a desire to see it, but it's definitely a part of history and a part of, you know, the kind of history that I like studying and paying attention to, like the Cold War and World War II and all that kind of stuff, so. Checkpoint Charlie there. Pretty interesting little spot. You can see where, you know, people actually have to cross, but not the wall itself. We're just heading up there now, but you can already really see why, you know, some things are tourist spots. You know, I really am against going to touristy places, but definitely a part of history. I'm sure Anthony Bourdain didn't exactly do a lot of many of the super touristy things. There's a lot about, you know, seeing the food and the culture and the people, but he had a lot of hookups and a lot of people he could see. But I'm gonna try to see all the famous things, and I've already had 2 donairs, so today I'm gonna try to get some different types of food. Hopefully we can see everything we want to see. And yeah, unfortunately it's a little bit underwhelming. I don't quite know what I was expecting out of the Berlin Wall. I mean, definitely lots of graffiti on it. It's crumbling. I guess that's sort of the point, right? As it came down, it's just whatever was left. You know, this was the last piece, I guess, or one of the last pieces. I'm not quite too sure, but yeah, it's just a wall on a street. The dividing line itself, I think, is more of what you're here for, is just to really grasp the concept that there was a wall that ran through your city and divided 2 countries. I do kind of feel like we're missing something because there's not a lot of people here. Well, we're gonna head over to the Brandenburg Gate and check that out. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to see the Tokyo Tower or much else, but...
Tokyo Tower.
Oh, not the Tokyo Tower. Berlin Tower. We are in Berlin, so it would be the Berlin Tower. See, it's definitely a different vibe here compared to France or, you know, other places I've been in Europe. It's very modern, very Americanized place, in all honesty. Like, there's no real better way to put it than Americanized. Like, it feels like it has a lot of American influence, and it's, you know, very standard looking buildings, a lot of glass, you know, big city. Well, it's definitely a bit of a tourist hotspot here, but one of those things you have to see. Just gonna walk up the square now and see what we can find. And you know, if you're ever in a place and you don't want to pay for a tour, just find an English one and start tagging along a little bit. Get a little bit of history. Learn a little bit about Michael Jackson dangling his baby out a window, and it was at this hotel over here. Of course, it's my luck. Everything's under construction here at the Reichstag. Your parliament buildings, essentially. A lot of famous photos here, but definitely got some dark history everywhere, around every corner. Well, luckily we're covering quite a bit of ground here. You know, we only have about 4 hours total of this morning, and we're managing to get a lot accomplished. Like, I mean, they're all kind of in one place. We're gonna hop on the train now, see if we can go see the Berlin Tower. I keep wanting to call it the Tokyo Tower, maybe because they look quite similar, but yeah, we're gonna go head over there and then maybe see if we can figure out something to eat. I want to get a sausage or something other than a donair. Donairs are good, but I've had enough. I need to get something different. It's very strange being here. Like, it's, you know, since spending a month and traveling around in France and trying to avoid touristy places and now being in a touristy place, it's a little bit odd.
And a big city.
And it's a big city, yeah, that's a good point. One of the really sick things though here is that every train station is like so unique. Like, they're really, really unique. Like, they almost try to be, or I'm sure they try to be. Like, everything looks deliberately different. Like, there's no uniformity, and I kind of love it. Like, it's kind of like, ooh, what's this train station gonna look like? You know, the more I walk around in this city, the more it's kind of growing on me. I mean, there's all these kind of unique squares and unique little spots. Like, it's been such a long time since I've been in a true big city. Like, a really big city with all these different sections and different neighborhoods that have their own vibes and their own thing going on, and it's growing on me. I'm kind of liking the city now. It's like maybe I just went to the couple of tourist spots and I'm starting to make a judgment, and I shouldn't have been, because this is really interesting, but I'm now starting to be starving and I've got to find some food pretty soon, but I'm just trying to avoid ending up in a tourist trap. Yeah, like, look at my background. I mean, I didn't quite think that I was going to be able to see the Tokyo Sky Tree. Like, we kind of just walked out, turned around, and like, holy shit, it's right there. You know, we kind of just walked out and turned around, and it's right there. It's like a really cool square, like lots of really good views here. Well, the communication thing is a bit of a challenge, so we had to settle for a donair box because it was just easier than trying to, you know, get what exactly it was that we wanted. I wanted to get a sausage, but just the communication barrier is a struggle, and I think it's going to continue to be a struggle, but that's a lot of why I wanted to do like an Anthony Bourdain style layover, because you just hop in quick and then you're out, and you know, you don't really have time to try to figure out the places that work best for you and all that. But obviously when I go to my next destination, I will be I will be a little bit more versed in what to do and where to go, and the people that speak English make my life a little bit easier. Well, we're gonna go try to see a different spot of the Berlin Wall because we're a little disappointed with the first spot there. So we looked up the Berlin Wall Memorial, and hopefully it's a little bit more accessible, I guess you could say. But we got some good views here now. Just can see the God, I can't stop calling it the Tokyo Skytree. One thing about doing this is you end up walking a lot, and so our feet are starting to really freaking kill us. But we still got about at least an hour and a half until we got to go back to our hotel. And so we're going to keep doing as much as we can possibly do here. That's also a little disappointing. I didn't get to show you more food. All I've eaten here is freaking donairs. I mean, I got one late last night because, you know, I was just starving. Whatever was open and whatever was available was what I was eating. But, you know, even today at the train station, it was like, again, it's become a project of convenience pretty quickly. It's unlike in France where I can speak a little bit of French and maybe muddle my way through, say, left and right, and, you know, do a lot of pointing and work with the limited language I know. Here I know zero, and I really have to start learning some basic words: right, left, yes, no. You know, it makes it a little bit easier to communicate, but it's just a bit of a learning curve. That's what this whole thing is. And even trying to tackle a city in 17 hours is a learning curve all its own. I do love walking in residential areas, like just about anywhere I go though. Like, it really gets you a bit of a taste for what more standard life is like, rather than all the hustle and bustle and seeing people at restaurants and things like that. Like, that's not somebody's everyday life, whereas their neighborhood shows it a lot more. And surprisingly, it kind of reminds me of sort of Canadian cities and their residential areas where there's not a lot of shops or restaurants kind of interwoven into them, whereas in France there was a lot more of that. And I'm curious what it'll be in Leipzig. I guess all the stakes in the ground, that's all that's left here. You know, when you see it at length, unlike the other spot, it's, you know, you start getting a grasp of what it was like to have a wall running through your city. One of the really interesting things is here too is that it's all very solemn about this topic, and I thought, you know, with the Berlin Wall that it would be less solemn of a topic because it was more about the Cold War, not about World War II and some of those things, but it's not really the case. Everything's very solemn. Even though my feet are dead, I just stumbled into this little market here and just gonna explore a little bit. Jessica had to go back and sit down. Only got about an hour left, and then it's time to head out. I always love finding the little markets and that, and some of the small little neighborhoods. Always shows you a fair amount of their culture, and kind of you understand a little bit more. Everybody getting out on Saturday and going to a market to do some shopping, and this one seems a lot more like textiles and things like that. Like, not a lot of food or anything, just a couple of little snacks. Well, we're just waiting for the train to take us to the bus station and get ready to head out. Looks like our time in Berlin is up. 17 hours in Berlin is like. So that's what 17 hours in Berlin's like. I didn't quite know how to include this in the video, so I thought I'd put it in here at the end because it was still a critical part of my trip to Berlin. That definitely had an impact on me, but I couldn't quite figure out how to put it in. Some memorials to commemorate, you know, their darker past, and maybe to get you to grasp the gravity of the situation. It just gets bigger and bigger as you kind of get into the center of it. A little bit hard to explain. There's no words, there's nothing written down or any pictures or anything like that. It's just concrete blocks.